Right, good afternoon to you from the sports desk. Let's start off here today. Tickets for the FIH Hockey Indoor World Cup taking place in Pretoria in 2023 officially opened earlier this week. Now, the sixth edition of the tournament will see the cream of the world's men and women indoor players competing for glory at the Heartfelt Arena, and that's from the 5th to the 11th of February next year. This will be the first indoor hockey World Cup to take place outside Europe, and what better place for it to be than in our own backyard. For more on this, we are joined by SPAR SA Women's Indoor Captain Jessica O'Connor. Jessica, thank you so much for your time. Let's quickly get into the World Cup that is coming up in the beginning of next year. How is your preparation going for that? Do you feel that you are on track? Do you feel the team is also on track?
I definitely feel like we're on track. We just had a series in Namibia against Namibia, and it was a tough tournament, but obviously it got our team together. And coming up, we have another tournament against Ireland, and then again we have some test matches before the World Cup. So I think all in all, I'm hoping that everyone in their different provinces is training hard apart, so that when we are together, we obviously are fully prepared.
Definitely. So I see South Africa, the women's team rather, because I mean, of course, the indoor hockey World Cup will be the men and women. So the SA women, they are in Pool A alongside the Netherlands, Austria, Australia, the United States and New Zealand. Just how competitive are these other teams? What chances do we have as South Africa against them?
So the two European teams that we have in our pool are obviously tough. They've just come out of like a European league, if you can say that. So it's their winter season, which means everyone's playing indoors. So they're going to be on the court a lot. And then with regards to the other teams, everyone is good. In South Africa, we have a lot of players who play both indoor and outdoor. But in those other countries, a lot of them specialize, which obviously makes it a lot more difficult, and they get a lot more practice and they spend a lot more time together. So yeah, it's going to be super competitive. I think it is, like you said, the cream of the crop here. So every team at the World Cup is going to be tough.
So you've just mentioned now a lot of the players do play indoor and outdoor. So just for the benefit of our viewers, I think outdoor hockey or, grass hockey is, commonly known. Not everybody really knows indoor hockey. So for the benefit of our viewers, can you please just tell us the difference between indoor and grass hockey as well? How accessible is it to you in our country in terms of you getting access to facilities and actually getting training time? Do we have enough indoor facilities available? And how easy is it for you to be part of the sport and go ahead and specialize, as you mentioned?
Yes. So basically, in short, indoor hockey is indoors. It's on a lot harder surface. You use a thinner stick with a lighter ball, so that you're not allowed to lift the ball unless it's at the goals. And the court is probably less than a quarter of the size of an outdoor court. So the game is, and then obviously the most obvious is there's 5 field players and 1 goalkeeper, whereas outdoor is 10 field players and 1 goalkeeper. So it's a very intense game. It's action-packed, and the length of the game is also shorter. So kind of within that space, you're getting a very high intensity. With regards to facilities, I think that a lot of the schools, there are a lot of facilities. It is very accessible. Maybe not as much as like an AstroTurf, but we do still find venues to train. And I think around the country, most people are lucky enough. And because it's at schools, you're seeing indoor hockey getting brought into schools more. And then like the kids are coming through school and then obviously after school, which is amazing.
So luckily at grassroots level then, when we look at our pipeline, it looks like we are heading in the right direction, of course, with it being available at schools. So I've already mentioned, you would have heard me say in the intro, that this is the first time that the FIH Indoor Hockey World Cup is going to be hosted outside of Europe, and it's going to be hosted right here in our country in Pretoria. So talk to us about the importance of it being hosted in South Africa, number one, and number two, how do you also feel as a player being able to play an entire World Cup here at home?
So obviously it's massive in the growth of indoor hockey. Like you mentioned earlier, indoor hockey isn't as common as outdoor hockey. So for people or spectators and supporters to be able to come down now and watch and see what the sport's all about, to have youngsters coming and watching and seeing like how exciting it is an amazing opportunity for the growth in the sport in general. But I think for hockey and like as a whole, it's also massive because we're seeing more and more tournaments coming to South Africa. There was Pro League, there's Nations League coming up. There was also the Women's Junior World Cup. So you're seeing more and more tournaments coming here. And that's just obviously the exposure for hockey, and also for girls hockey is also unbelievable.
No, most definitely. Jessica, so you also are the most capped female player. Firstly, a big congratulations to you on that one. That is really a phenomenal achievement. So your journey, what has it been like for you? I mean, in reaching the milestone of being the most capped player, what are some of the challenges that you have faced along the way? It's still known today in 2022, whilst it shouldn't be the case, that what men experience in sport and what women experience in the same sport is chalk and cheese. So what has that journey been like for you?
Oh, to be honest, it hasn't been, it's been pretty easy for me. We've been lucky enough to be sponsored by SPAR throughout the whole 8 years that I've been playing. So I got my first cap in 2014, and that whole time SPAR has been on board with us. So even though indoor hockey is not a professional sport, I was lucky enough to be sponsored my whole way through and not have to fund myself or, So I think with regards to difficulty and that kind of thing, I'm fine. Whereas like the main difficulty that I have is obviously because it's not a professional sport, we don't get paid to play, and therefore we all have jobs. So taking time away from work is probably the biggest challenge that I think we face.
So what would then the future of indoor hockey in South Africa look like for you? Coming off what you've just said now, I think one point would be it being made professional, so that you actually could just follow your passion and do just that instead of, having a day job as well as playing sport, which, as you're saying, is quite challenging. What else would then be for you the end goal for what indoor hockey would be like for those in South Africa?
Oh, of course, everyone would love indoor hockey to be a professional sport. Maybe this having this World Cup here will maybe put us have a step in the right direction. But while I'm not around, it won't. Unfortunately, it won't happen. But I don't know. There's been massive growth from when we started. We all got on that court, and there wasn't one cap in the team. And now, obviously, I've seen the changes over these last 8 years, and we've come a long way. We've been abroad a lot. Again, thank you to our sponsor SPAR, who have allowed us these opportunities. And because of it, we have improved so much. So I only see that getting better, which is unbelievable.
Jessica, we have run out of time, so I'm going to have to leave it there for now. Very quickly before we go, because I did mention tickets are officially open, where can our viewers go ahead and purchase these tickets so they can come out and support South Africa come February next year?
So the tickets are on sale at ourtickets.co.za. If you're battling to find it, you can go onto our social media page, which is SA Women's Indoor, and I've put the bio in our link, so it's very easily accessible.
Excellent. Thank you so much, and all the best for February 2023. That was SPAR SA Women's Indoor Captain Jessica O'Connor.